Have you ever noticed that when you start changing for real, the people around you begin to feel uncomfortable? They won't say it openly, of course, but it's there. They'll disguise it with jokes, well-meaning advice, or that awkward silence when you talk about something deeper. But deep down, what's really happening is simple. Your mental evolution is threatening their comfort zone, and no one likes to confront their own complacency. The truth is, most people are content living in a world where nothing challenges them to grow, where everything is familiar, safe, and predictable. Maybe you're going through exactly this right now. You've started thinking differently, acting differently, and perhaps even questioning things that you once accepted without a second thought. And suddenly, you feel alone, misunderstood, even judged. The people around you may not understand why you're changing, or they may feel uncomfortable with the way your new mindset challenges their old views. What no one tells you, and what nature understood long before we ever could, is that this is the price of building a strong mind. But not just any kind of strength. This is a strength so intense, so real, that it makes others uncomfortable. It exposes their weaknesses. It reveals the cracks in the facade of those who still live on autopilot, following the crowd, chasing empty pursuits. So why does this happen? Why does a truly powerful mind make people uncomfortable? Because a mind that is awake and alive, truly alive, is a threat to collective mediocrity. And when you decide to think for yourself, to create your own values, to question ready-made truths, you become dangerous. Dangerous to the system, dangerous to others who don't want to change, and most importantly, dangerous to your former self, the one you've been outgrowing. This video is a challenge to anyone who feels ready to break free from the chains of mediocrity. It's not for those who are comfortable. It's not for those who want easy answers. It's for those who are tired of being a hostage to their own insecurities, for those who feel like they're on the verge of an internal rupture, and for those who are ready to build something no one can destroy. A mind that cannot be manipulated, a mind that terrifies because it refuses to bend. If you're ready for this journey, a lonely, difficult, but transformative journey, then stay. Because what nature has to teach you will confront you. It will push you to your limits. But it can also set you free. And after this, you'll never think the same way again. Nietzsche wasn't just a philosopher. He was a surgeon of the human soul. He had the courage to dive into the abyss of existence, face the chaos, and not only survive it, but transcend it. It is precisely in that abyss, in the inner chaos that most people avoid, that Nietzsche discovered the source of true strength. For nature, transformation doesn't happen in peace, stability, or order. It happens in pain. It happens in the fall. It happens in chaos. He once said, "You need to have chaos inside you to give birth to a dancing star." This isn't a poetic metaphor. It's a psychological diagnosis. What he meant was that if you want to build an unshakable mind, you must abandon the childish belief that it will happen through comfort, cheap motivation, or positive affirmations. True strength is born when you face suffering without fleeing, when you stop wishing for life to be easier and start wishing to be stronger. This is the real secret to growth. Think about the times when you grew the most. Was it when everything was going smoothly? Or was it when you were shattered, lost, directionless, and had to rebuild yourself from the ground up? Nietzsche believed suffering was not a mistake of existence. It was its main driving force. He didn't romanticize pain, but he saw it as a tool that, if you can learn to wield it properly, will forge something rare, an indomitable spirit. The world reacts when you embrace this transformation. While most people flee from chaos, you'll learn to walk right into it. While others beg for normality and comfort, you will create greatness. But here's the catch. This transformation requires a brutal break with everything you were taught about strength. Being strong is not about smiling all the time or maintaining fake emotional control. It's not about looking like you have it all together. Being strong is about enduring the unbearable and emerging from it even more dangerous, more powerful than before. But nature knew that chaos alone wasn't enough. Without an inner center, chaos can destroy you. That's why, in the next part, we will talk about Nietzsche's most decisive moment, when he kills God and places upon you the full weight of existential responsibility. When there is no higher power to look to, you must become the creator of your own reality. If this content is making sense to you, please hit that subscribe button. Join me as we continue this journey together. When Nietzsche declared that God is dead, he was not celebrating. He was issuing a warning that many still don't understand today. What he killed wasn't a divine figure, but the illusion that there is a higher authority taking care of everything. The illusion that there is a plan, a pre-established meaning, a purpose given to you by someone from the outside. The death of God is the end of any excuse, and that's frightening. Because until that point, it was easy to outsource the responsibility for your life. It was comforting to believe that everything has a reason, that suffering is part of some divine plan, that there is a greater good that will justify it all in the end. Nature violently tears this veil away. It looks you in the eye and says, "You are alone. There is no ready-made meaning. Now, you are the creator." And this is where the true construction of a powerful mind begins. Because most people collapse when they realize they are alone in the face of chaos, without a manual, without guarantees, and with no one to blame but themselves. But those who have the courage to face this head-on without crumbling, those who choose to build themselves from nothing, begin to forge an unshakable consciousness. With the death of God, nature pushes you into the abyss of radical freedom. You should not follow commandments. You must create your own values. You should not obey. You must surpass yourself. It is the birth of brutal autonomy. Along with this autonomy comes a weight. Everything now depends on you. There is no absolution. There is no salvation. Either you build yourself or you sink. But here's the secret. This freedom, which at first seems terrifying, is also the greatest source of power you can have. When you realize that no one is coming to save you, something inside of you awakens, a fire that compels you to rise even when you are bleeding, that forces you to think for yourself, feel for yourself, and act not because someone said it is right, but because you decided it is. It is in this rupture with all the systems you once relied on that nature prepares the ground for something even more grandiose, the emergence of a new way of being. The Übermensch, or Overman, is not a superhero. It is not someone with mystical powers. The Übermensch is a being who has overcome everything that binds the ordinary man: guilt, obedience, herd morality, and the need for acceptance. The Übermensch does not seek approval. He does not ask for permission to exist. He creates his own internal laws and lives by them, even if it puts him against the entire world. And that is exactly why the mind of the Übermensch becomes unbreakable. It is not built on the expectations of others. It does not need external validation to exist. It is self-sufficient, fueled by its own will to power, the deep impulse to shape reality in its own image. To become this figure, you must sacrifice. You will have to kill parts of yourself that still seek approval. You will have to endure the pain of not belonging. You will have to bear the weight of building your identity from scratch, without guarantees, without applause, without validation from others. Most people can't handle it. They give up before they start. They run back to the safety of ready-made beliefs, dogmas, and rules that someone else wrote for them. The path to the Übermensch is lonely. Nietzsche knew this. He lived on the margins, misunderstood, called mad, isolated from the world he was trying to liberate. But it was in that isolation that he found his freedom. And this is what you need to understand. The stronger your mind becomes, the further you will drift from the masses. The higher you rise, the more uncomfortable you will make people. You will disturb the comfortable illusions of the collective. The construction of the Übermensch is the most brutal and transformative process anyone can face. It requires you to destroy everything that is not yours, everything that has been imposed on you by a sick culture, by a society that rewards obedience and punishes authenticity. And only after destroying all of that will you begin to build. But this construction does not happen amidst the crowd. It happens in silence, in solitude, the deep solitude that separates the strong from the weak. Because the truth is, to become unshakable, you will have to learn to walk alone. Few are ready for that. Are you?